Talk here on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater, also streaming live on UWW-TV through YouTube. I'm your host, Chris Pittner, and I'm here with a cast of David, Alyssa, Austin, and Brian, and we have a good show coming up, so we might as well just jump into it. So first off, as you guys probably observed at some point today, the weather was... It was our first real snowfall of the year that stuck to the ground. So for our Warhawk thought today, I'll start with Brian on this one. What is your favorite outdoor activity during the winter when it snows?
Oh yeah, for me there's a lot of great activities. One of them for me has got to be sledding. Me and my friends, we still go to like the local like giant hill, and sometimes we go sledding. But I gotta say my most favorite, being a hockey player, it's gotta be outdoor skating. For me, there's just nothing beats playing hockey and taking it outdoors. Back when how it like started out, you know, it's just a fun experience, you know. And one of these days I'm gonna like head up to like one of those, like, you ever see those videos of those like nice skates? They're like skating through Alaska and that's got all the mountains. It's just really cool and scenic, and I want to do that one day.
That sounds awesome. Do you know if there's actually any rinks in Whitewater that are like,
I think,
like for hockey, like someone like made a rink in their yard or something?
I'm pretty sure there's one in that like little park I've seen previous years. I don't know if they're doing it this year though.
I can't say I've ever seen that one, but then again, I haven't really looked for it. So,
Yeah.
Austin, how about you?
For me, I don't do it we probably like a couple times a year at most, but snowboarding is really fun, in my opinion. I'm not very good at it, but it's still fun when you get going. I can't really, my form of stopping is usually just to fall, but when you're going, it's definitely fun.
Are you more of like a half pipe type, or are you...
No, I usually just go down the hill.
Gotcha.
Yeah. fall quite a few times, but it's a fun day when I go.
It's always an experience,
Yep,
you know what
sure.
I mean?
For me, outdoor would be sledding. Like every year, my mom usually takes us to some type of hill and we'll just go sledding for a couple hours. Indoor would probably be watching basketball. I do like doing that when it snows too.
I mean, there's not much that beats the Christmas Day games when it's snowing outside. You got hot chocolate, all the snacks that your family has out, and you're just sitting by like a campfire watching basketball.
Yeah,
There's not much that beats that.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was going to say. I'm not a huge fan of winter. I don't like being cold. Maybe it's just because I weigh like 80 pounds, so the wind just goes straight through me. But I was going to say Christmas Day, watching the NBA Christmas Day games is been a tradition of mine for years. And it's cool because like usually I have family that lives like in the Urbana-Champaign area, so it's usually I just be watching in a hotel in a hotel room when we like went down to see family and stuff, or with my family there. So that's always been a fun memory.
Do the Bulls play on Christmas Day this year? I don't remember 100%.
No, because the league hates us.
It's so weird how they hate a big market team like that.
No, I
that
know.
really doesn't make sense. But yet the Knicks, when they're like 10 and 30, get a game every year.
No, I know it's just kind of messed up how they don't want to see Alex Caruso fly like a bald eagle on Christmas Day. I personally think that's
Fly
pretty messed
like a bald eagle. All right, so my favorite would probably just be like either sledding, and I've always wanted to try skiing, although I've never actually done it before, just like downhill skiing. It always seemed really fun to me. And even just like as a former cross-country athlete, just cross-country skiing, literally any form of skiing would be fun for me. And then also just watching either football or basketball inside is awesome too. So moving into our actual topic, we're going to talk about the team that actually did a thing on Sunday and won 31-28. The Green Bay Packers pulled off a thrilling 31-28 victory against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. And I'll just get right into it again with Brian. Do you think there's any chance that Green Bay runs the table part 2 this year?
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I was looking at the remaining schedule for you guys. You got the Titans, Eagles. The Rams are tough still, I think. The Dolphins, even. The Vikings. I really only see like maybe 2 guaranteed wins for you guys, being the Bears and Lions. But
I can't even guarantee
Yeah.
either of those, to be honest with you.
yeah, because I think the Bears have actually been looking really good recently. I think they've been had a good offense. I think Fields is doing fantastic right now, and I think that's what they needed. But yeah, I think it's gonna be tough for you guys. But you know, I hate to admit it, I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy. But you know, with Aaron Rodgers, I think anything is possible for you guys.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought Sunday was almost kind of like a fluke game. Everything went right in that game. If you guys know what I mean. Like with
Yeah.
Christian Watson getting 3 touchdowns.
He's gonna be nice.
Yeah, I mean a potential missed call on the CD Lamb play. We're not gonna talk much about that here,
Absolutely elite coverage by Jair Alexander.
but elite to the. I mean, he didn't catch it.
That was
That's
elite.
true.
But I mean, I feel like just most everything went right in that game to where I don't know if that's replicatable, especially with all the injuries that the Packers have.
Yeah, 100%. I think the Lions game really was the nail in the coffin for me. We had like 8 guys go out that game, including Rashawn Gary tore his ACL. It doesn't look like Eric Stokes is going to play the rest of the year. So like to me, that was a big like nail in the coffin. Obviously, we played well on Sunday. I think Thursday we'll like see the real like if we can string together 2 wins in a row, maybe like they'll start. I'll start like hoping a little bit. But for right now, I don't really see us getting more than 3 wins the rest of the year.
My favorite joke about that Lions game was that we had 7 starters injured, and then Aaron Rodgers bruised his ego, and that was our 8th.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, just looking at the schedule, even like the previous schedule, all but 2 of the teams that we played are either at or above 500. Like, it's just been a gauntlet this year, just with how everything laid out. I mean, and we still got the 8-1 now Eagles to play. Sorry, Brian. And
It happens.
and then we also have the Vikings to play again, who I think they're obviously going to be very tough. I think we can hang with them, but I don't know if we can pull that one off. I mean, the Titans, like you said, that's going to be the litmus test, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Especially another game at home. Hopefully, if we can pull that one out, then I think we can maybe see getting some hope in the locker room. But like I said, I think maybe we beat the Bears, Lions, and maybe the Rams would be my
I
third
think the
one.
Rams, we got the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Kupp is out for a while now.
Yeah.
I don't really think, but beyond him, I mean, what do they have really? They have Allen Robinson.
Yeah, not really much.
The defense doesn't really give me much hope either for them.
Higbee's been solid ever since he came back, but
I mean,
Yeah.
can you really rely on him as like a legitimate threat though?
I think he's been a pretty good check down artist, but that's besides that.
I mean, we know what Stafford is with his receivers, but
Yeah.
if you know what I'm getting at.
You gotta remember, like the NFC is not that strong too. So
Honestly,
no,
I
it's
think
really
most
not.
teams, almost anybody could beat almost anybody.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the Commanders have the last spot right now, so you never know.
I'm not really sold on the Giants yet either.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of their wins are flukes.
Yeah, the NFL released the new power rankings for this week, and they put the Giants above the Dolphins, and
I think
That-
that's
yeah,
ridiculous.
I
that
really
is-
agree with that.
I think the
Not right.
Dolphins are a top 5 team in the NFL this year.
They
Hot
put,
take on that.
Oh no, they put the Giants at 4 and the Dolphins at 5.
That's just not right.
I think the Dolphins, when
Dolphins
Tua
are not-
plays, are almost unstoppable.
Wait, who was at 6? Because there's
wait,
someone else.
I'll
Then
pull
there's
it up.
something missing
I'll
in
pull
the-
it up because I remember
Because the top
maybe
4, in my opinion, are in no order. It's Eagles, Bills, Chiefs, and Vikings.
Yeah, I was about to say.
No,
Yeah.
so it's crazy. The, NFL power rankings through week 11: Vikings, Chiefs, Eagles at 1, 2, 3. Giants.
Wait, Vikings are 1?
The Vikings are 1.
Okay,
Hello?
I guess.
Interesting.
Vikings, Chiefs,
Uh-huh.
Eagles, Giants, Dolphins, Ravens, Cowboys, Jets, Bills, Niners.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Whose rankings is this?
That's yeah. So
Interesting.
very
Giants. New York Giants, top 4 team in the NFL.
G-men,
Obviously.
baby, real G-men.
Yeah, because they barely beat the Texans. Good job, Giants.
Wandale Robinson's gonna have a electric second half of the season.
How are you gonna put the Vikings over the Eagles though? When the Eagles beat the Vikings?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just because of momentum right now.
Yeah.
Like, you guys lost, and they were just waiting for you. They were preying on your downfall. They
Yeah.
really were.
Whole league is.
Well, I think the refs were terrible last night.
that-
in my
no.
opinion.
That face mask call
Yeah.
on Goddard was crazy. I don't know how they reviewed that and still called that a fumble.
I don't think they could
You
review
can't-
it for
yeah,
that.
you can't
Yeah,
review-
you
you
can't
didn't
review
see
it for
it.
that.
Oh, okay.
You can't miss you just can't miss that face
Nah.
mask.
Oh, okay. Well, them missing the face mask
Yeah.
is
You just
crazy.
can't-
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Yeah,
I
but-
mean, like, How do three, like, if it's only one ref trying to cover the whole field, maybe I guess I would get it and it's like on his backside. But there's 3 refs on that field.
Yeah. Even that like last play.
Oh my god.
Like, I mean, yeah, he did get hit after he gave
Yeah.
himself up, but his momentum was already.
Yeah,
taking
I was
him
about to say,
down.
like, if anything, it was number 1, it was kind of a soft hit, and number 2, it was just kind of, he was going forward already. There was
Yeah.
nothing he could do.
He was trying to like
He
stop
tried to
himself.
let up, yeah.
But you can't blame the refs. I think the Eagles played like crap, honestly.
Yeah.
I
that's-
felt like we had an extra long week because we played Thursday night, and then we come to this Monday night game, and this is our game plan. Come on.
No, yeah,
Ridiculous.
I think honestly, just don't play Quez Watkins. Quez
I mean-
Watkins is you make a catch that good, and then you just the first sight of contact, you just like that was bad.
Yeah, that's tough. But like, also I don't understand is that we're not a bad running team. Miles Sanders got 1 handoff in the first half against a.
Yeah, I have him in fantasy.
You know, it's
I
like-
appreciated that.
It's like, what are we doing? Come on.
I appreciated that. I have him in fantasy, and he had a very respectable 6 yards in the first
Yeah,
half.
it's so.
Hey, Brian, I thank you, though, as someone playing against A.J. Brown this
Oh,
week
yeah.
for not including him in the game plan.
Yeah, that was tough.
I couldn't believe that. I was
Yeah.
like,
I
think
that was the
he-
luckiest win of my life.
I think he got hurt in the first quarter. Something's wrong.
I remember he fell on one of those passes,
Yeah.
like that Hurts targeted at him.
Yeah. It was just not a good game. I wasn't impressed with anyone except I thought Hurts made some good throws when he needed to.
Devonta Smith played pretty well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Those 2 were the only.
Yeah.
Oh, and Josh Sweat.
I was gonna say Gardner Johnson had that nice
Yeah,
pick too.
Yeah.
Slade played
Yeah.
like crap.
The Eagles will be fine. They're still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they're still that team.
Everyone's saying they're frauds just because they lost one game.
No.
It's
Yeah.
like they had 3 fumbles today. They've had 3 throughout the first 8 games of the season.
I
Like,
mean,
Yeah.
that loss was a fluke, like, if you look
Yeah,
at it,
like
really.
I've seen people that are comparing them to like the Steelers team a couple years ago when they started,
no.
and like
Well,
I think the Eagles are way.
well,
better
the
than
reason people are comparing them is because the Commanders also
yeah,
upset
Yeah,
the
it's
Steelers.
not-
Wait, I
so
did-
it's like
I didn't
whoa.
realize-
the Commanders that ended both.
I didn't
What's
remember that
happening
until
again?
now.
Yeah, but I think the Eagles they'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's funny though, cause I'm pretty active on Twitter a lot, and I don't know if you guys are on the NFC East side of Twitter, but
I'm on the NFC North side of Twitter.
Yeah. So
That side of Twitter is entertaining.
I think it's funny because the Cowboys and Giants fans were talking the most crap. Like I heard nothing from Washington fans. I just think it's funny.
Well, they don't exist,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Yeah.
you go to their home games, and it's like when you guys play there, it's a sea of green. When
It's
we
like-
played there, it was a sea of green.
It's like going to a Brooklyn Nets game.
Yeah.
There's just absolutely no representation.
It's whoever they're playing against has all the fans.
Yeah.
All right, so moving back to the Packers, Alyssa, what do you think about their chances the rest of the year?
Okay, me and my dad, I'd FaceTimed him. We planned this all out. We predicted the rest of the season. So Packers and Titans, that's a loss. Eagles, that's a loss. Bears, that's hopefully a win. Rams, that's a loss. Dolphins, that's a loss.
I think we
Vikings,
can beat
that's
the Rams. I really
Yeah.
think we
Yeah,
can
And
beat
the
the
Rams.
I think the
should
Rams
be a
are
win.
cooked.
The Rams have taken a pretty big. If they lose Cooper Kupp,
They did.
They're-
He's on IR. He's having surgery.
He is.
He's having ankle surgery.
Oh no, they're cooked.
They're gone.
They're
they're cooked.
completely done. I mean, they
Cam-
were done before that.
Cam Akers is pulling like an Ezekiel Elliott right now, and and is having character concerns and is refusing to play. No, they're done. Yeah.
I feel
I'm-
like if we lose to the Bears, like if we just lose, I feel like that's embarrassing because like 3/4 of the time we win to the Bears, like we have.
I
a
mean,
good
we do
winning
have to have that other fourth of the time, though. That's the thing. Like, you can't beat them every time. Like in 2015, they beat us too, and they were awful that year.
streak. It's just like a thing though that we always win against the Bears. If we lose, I think we just look embarrassing if we lose. To the
Well, I'm gonna be
Bears.
not happy because my friends will finally be able to talk back at me whenever I talk about the Bears. I've noticeably quieted myself ever since the Packers started sucking, though.
Yeah.
All right, David.
Well, on your point about the Bears in their last 3 games have put up 29
Their offense
points.
is cooking. It's
Yeah.
just,
Oh, yeah.
The defense
Yeah.
is
Fields
there's
is
nobody.
cooking.
Yeah.
The Fields is cooking. Yeah, nobody else
That's
really.
pretty, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
he's
pretty
just-
much it.
He's the greatest fantasy pickup for me of all time.
Yeah,
I had him too.
But I was gonna say, the Bears in their last 3 games have scored 29 plus in a 3-game span and lost all 3 games. That is the first time in NFL history that a team has put up 29 3 times in a row and lost all 3 games. So as long as the Packers defense holds, and I know that the defense is a little depleted, but like as long as
A little bit.
a lot depleted, I'm trying to be nice. I think you guys will be able to handle the Bears. But yeah, no, I definitely think it'll be tough. I think the whole thing about the Packers offense right now is like Aaron Rodgers, like I said, I think I said this a lot earlier, but he needs to get like a Devontae Adams level connection with one of these receivers. I'm not saying one of the receivers has to have like the talent of Devontae Adams, but like he has to develop a favorite target. So I mean, if him and Christian Watson can kind of bank off of this and get some good chemistry going, because like a lot of the times that like he would miss Christian Watson, it would just be like miscommunication or like he
Yeah.
would, you know what
I mean, it's that way with like Sammy Watkins too. Like even on that play against the Lions in the end zone, it's because Watkins ran the wrong route.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why the throw looked so
That's what I'm
bad.
saying,
It wasn't
yeah.
a terrible throw necessarily.
like all of the blame for like throws like plays like that aren't on Rodgers, but like I think that Watson has the highest potential out of any receiver on the Packers, and if they can continue to build off of this game, I think they can stay competitive with the Titans. I think the Titans are going to be like the true test though.
I
'Cause
think
of
the
how-
Titans are they're a straight running team.
I was going to say with how one-dimensional their offense is, if your guys' defense can hold, I think you can beat the Titans. But
It's going to be a slugfest, is my prediction.
It's
There's
gonna-
not going to be a lot of points scored in that game,
It's
unless
gonna be
Derrick
a-
Henry has like 3 tutties.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough road forward, but I think there's a little bit more light at the end of the tunnel that there is after this win.
Yeah, I think Alyssa was a little off with that Rams take too. I think in Lambeau we beat them.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't have any faith in the
I'll
Rams.
give us 3 wins the rest of the year, but
With
I'd
how
love to
good,
see more.
I feel bad for the Rams defense because their defense is still like one of the best in the league, and but the offense has just taken so many steps back.
Their offensive line is pitiful. All
Dare I
right.
say almost like their offensive line is like at the Bears level of offensive lines.
Yeah. So moving into sleeper teams, I'll start with David on this one. I actually have 2 in mind, but for the rest of the season, like who do you think could get hot and perhaps make a run?
So for one, I'm gonna say the Bengals. I think if they can stay afloat until Jamar Chase comes back, I think that you saw what, and I understand the Panthers don't have the best rush defense, but you saw what can happen when a guy like Joe Mixon, finds his step and finds his stride, and the offensive line is creating holes. The offensive line these last few games for the Bengals has looked like, the $70 million that they invested into it, and Joe Burrow he's top 5 in QBR this season and top 5 in overall completion percentage, and like I said, if he can keep the team afloat with without having Jamar Chase, which I think is possible, having probably the either the best or second best wide receiver 2, and definitely an elite wide receiver 3 in Tyler Boyd.
He's probably the best wide receiver 3 in my opinion by far.
No, for sure. Like the only wide receiver 2 I would put above Higgins is Waddle.
Yeah.
But I think that they could definitely get hot. They got off to a slow start, but they have a relatively fair schedule. But I also have to say the Dolphins, even though they already are hot, but I can see if Bradley Chubb continues to play at the level he's been playing, even though I only think he's gotten like 1 sack, but he's been, ever since being traded to the Dolphins, he's actually led the NFL in QB pressures. So I think that their defense was already as good as it was beforehand. I definitely think they're a team that can, potentially win out.
Random thought, but I think Mike McDaniel is hilarious, their head coach.
Did you
He's so
see that?
socially awkward and it makes me laugh.
That interview, I forget who they played. I think it was when they played Justin Fields, and he yelled at Justin. He's like, "Stop running!" and then like in the post game interview, he was like, "Yeah, it was rushing, and he was gaining a lot of yards, so I figured it couldn't hurt just to ask him to stop." No, I like Mike McDaniel.
He's hilarious. All right, Alyssa, who's a sleeper team for you the rest of the year?
Okay. I want to say the Jets. Now, here's the deal. They used to be a very bad team, but this year they are not. They're 6-3 right now. Now, I'll admit, I have a joke that I like to make fun of the Jets, like for fun, because they're such a bad team. However, they are doing very good this season. I would like to see them be at least first in the AFC, like just for fun, like so I can text my dad, be like, look at the Jets, they're doing so good this season. Like, I'm so impressed with them. Like, I just think that would be so cool to see such a bad team being first, because my dad told me this last season. He goes, you can have a team that does very good one season, and the next season they could do so bad.
The Rams.
So that's just how I feel about the Jets right now. They are such a bad team that is doing so good this season that I can see them like being first.
I
don't even
honestly
think the Jets are a bad. I think the only thing holding the Jets back is Zach Wilson.
I agree. I
Zach
think
Wilson
their
is
quarterback play. They just need to hit on a quarterback, and I think they're Super Bowl contenders.
Is
I
it?
mean,
You got Flacco. Put Flacco back.
I was gonna
he's
say
the most elite quarterback in
Yeah.
football.
literally every single pass catching weapon like Wilson, Elijah Moore, Tyler Conklin, Corey Davis, all like for some reason like they all were doing better when Flacco was playing.
Yeah, he was top 5 in passing yards when he was playing. So
Yeah, remember week
That's
one.
an elite stat right
Yeah.
there.
Through week 3, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, and Joe Flacco were in the top 5 for passing
yeah, that's,
yards.
great. That's awesome.
Sounds about right, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would actually have to disagree with you. The Jets may be somewhat of a bad franchise, but they are far from a bad team right now.
They got a really nice
I think they
young
also
core, yeah.
They hit on Robert Saleh for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
especially against the Packers, he's just been known to absolutely.
And they got a lot of really good young pieces on defense too. Like obviously Sauce, but like Quinnen Williams is really good.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
only like 24. And yeah, like they're a young core getting forward, moving. As long as they can like make sure everything's good with Elijah Moore, then like they got a really nice young core moving.
They didn't butt fumble this one away, that's for sure. All right, Austin.
All right, so I got two teams that I think can get hot. The first one for me, if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's to never bet against Tom Brady.
That's what I was gonna
think-
say the same
I think
thing.
the Bucks can definitely get hot and pull away with that division, and then get a top 3 seed, three or 4 seed in the NFC, and they can be scary in the playoffs.
They also have a very favorable schedule
Yeah.
the rest of the year.
So I expect them to pull away with that division pretty easily. I know it's been tight the last couple so far, but I expect them to pull away. And then same thing with the 49ers. I think they're a very good team. They obviously started off slow, but with getting Christian McCaffrey and they've won 2 in a row, I also expect
That's
them
looking
to,
like the missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I also
Austin, you
expect
stole
them.
both of my teams that I was gonna say.
Yeah, so I would also expect the Niners to run away with the division. So I think
I don't know if they're gonna run away with the
Well,
division necessarily,
maybe,
but
yeah.
looking at their schedule, like I looked at it even a few weeks ago, it's like there's few losses on there in my opinion. Like they're gonna win almost every game going
yeah,
out.
they got the Cardinals, Saints, Dolphins, maybe toss up Buccaneers, probably toss up Seahawks, Commanders, Raiders, Cardinals.
I
So
see
that's-
maybe 2 or 3
yeah.
losses in there,
So
and the
that's
rest of the
pretty
way is straight
favorable.
wins.
Yeah. So I'd expect both those teams to win their divisions respectively and make some noise in the playoffs to compete with the
Especially now Elijah Mitchell's back
Vikings.
too.
Yeah.
So now everyone's pretty much healthy.
I can only imagine what Kyle Shanahan's gonna be able to do with that offense.
They have so many weapons. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, I got 2 teams as well. My first team, I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans. I think, it's gonna start getting colder. It's the winter time. It's gonna mean more running the ball, and that's exactly what this Tennessee team is. They're not good at passing. They have a big back in Henry. This is about the time where he starts heating up. I think they're gonna run away with this division. It's not very good right now.
What do you mean? Jeff Saturday is one. He's got the
Undefeated.
greatest record for a head coach. He's
Yeah.
undefeated, never lost.
That thing where like he said like last week the Raiders don't look good, and then he beat the Raiders. That is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's 1-0 against the Raiders, but 0-1 against whatever high school it was.
Yeah,
in
like
Georgia.
Trinity
Yeah,
Christian
yeah, yeah.
Prep or whatever.
Yeah, but I think they're a sneaky team to watch out for in the playoffs when they get in, being able to run the ball the way they do. And also, I can't believe I'm gonna say this scumbag franchise, but the Washington Commanders. We saw what they did to my Eagles last night. Last week they probably should have.
Scumbag franchise.
Last week they probably should have beaten the Vikings. They blew a 10-point lead. They beat the Packers,
Hey, we don't talk about that game.
They're solid.
lost to the Titans by 1 score, so they are a good team, and the NFC is weak right now. I think as long as they keep Carson Wentz out of the mix, I think they can push for one of those final playoff spots.
I don't understand when they're going to realize that Taylor Heineke has been better than the last 3 quarterbacks they've put him in front of. Put in front of him.
I'd say they both stink, but Heineke's the better option.
Heineke.
I feel
Heineke's a
like
bit.
Heineke is one of the luckiest quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like, he just throws it to Terry. He throws it downfield. He just gets but he's got the dog in him. He wants to win, and
But at least he isn't like almost. At least he's not like almost Ben Roethlisberger immobile like Carson Wentz is.
he's definitely mobile. Like,
Taylor
I think,
Heineke is a dual threat, I would say.
I think they'll start him the rest of the year over
They have
Wentz
to.
when he comes back, but I still don't see him as like an elite quarterback.
Oh no,
I would say he's
maybe
even
maybe
border
like
fringe starter.
Yeah, he's definitely like.
It's
below
really
average.
just about how low the bar is of the other guys
Yeah,
around him,
that's
like
true.
Haskins, Fitzmagic, and Wentz.
Fitzmagic is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, but like, come on, that was when he was with the Dolphins.
Washington's got one of the best D lines too in the league, I think.
Yeah.
And they're getting Chase Young back now, too.
I forget that they.
And
Chase Young's hurt.
when Jahan Dotson comes back, that's gonna help the receiving core a lot. He's pretty solid.
I thought he played
Yeah,
last
he played
night.
last night.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, I was also gonna say when you mentioned the Titans, Traylon Burks could.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Because he's a rookie I like.
Back.
As long as they keep Malik Willis off the field.
Yeah, he's not ready.
What was that? The one primetime game? I didn't realize how bad it was. But those receivers.
He was like
just aren't-
5 for 20.
Yeah, but those receivers aren't getting open. Like you can't really blame Tannehill
Yeah.
or Willis.
They have a super mid receiving core,
Yeah.
to be fair.
I would say their receiving core might even be worse than Green Bay's,
they
to
need
be
a-
honest.
They need a guy like
He's
AJ
definitely up
Brown.
there in the-
I feel like AJ Brown would be really good on the Titans.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a prime Julio, like a non-injured one. That's,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so my sleeper teams were all stolen, unfortunately. So I guess we'll just transition into our next segment.
That is tough.
So, tanking. Everyone knows what it is most likely, I would guess. When you lose on purpose to get better prospects and draft picks. But I'll just let Brian take this one away because he was part of a rather major tank with the Trust the Process Philadelphia 76ers. What are your thoughts on tanking? Do you think it should be allowed?
Yeah, this is gonna be hard to not be hypocritical. I, for one, do not agree with tanking. I don't like it. Losing on purpose, it's just not good for you. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for the players. Like, you're here to lose. Like, that's why you're here. No, I don't like it. But, like, the Sixers started this. I didn't like it. That was the worst years of my life. Just worst team in the league, barely winning double-digit games. It was terrible. And it didn't work. Let's be honest,
You didn't like Michael Carter Williams?
Him and Jaleel Okafor?
Oh man.
Markel Fultz. I got his jersey T-shirt
Yeah.
and Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Last time I do that.
You
Yeah.
guys really only hit on one pick, to be honest. Out of all those picks, you hit on one of them.
Yeah, Embiid, yeah.
I mean, Tyrese Maxey is looking like a
he's
stud,
gonna be
but
a star.
that
Yeah,
was
but
kind
that
of
wasn't
after
the-
that whole
yeah.
tanking.
And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, he was the latest pick out of all. He was
of them.
21st.
Yeah.
He's
And he's the best one other than Embiid.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the Eagles. What was it? A couple years ago when we put in our third string quarterback to lose to secure the better draft pick.
Nate Sudfeld, I think his name
Yeah,
was.
Nate Sudfeld. Yeah.
49ers legend.
Yeah, I think it's okay in those situations because really, what do you have to play for? I don't know, it's tough, but like, I just don't like tanking.
I wanted to pose this question last week because last week I was sort of on the bench Rodgers and start Love for the rest of the year train just
I kind
because
of was too.
I wanted to see like what he could do and see him like because obviously I don't think Rodgers is going to be back either after this year or the year after. He's going to put some stuff on about how grateful he is and then go on Pat McAfee and make his decision again. But
What year is Love on his deal? Is this his?
I think he has
This is a-
one more after this one.
Yeah,
as long as we
This is
pick up
year
the
3,
option.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he's
So you're
got
gonna
one
have
more
to-
next year.
I feel bad for him, man.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
can't really say he's a bust, you know.
Everyone
you
is
haven't
calling
really-
him a bust, though. That's
No,
the
that's
thing.
just,
Like,
like-
He's played like
You can't
one.
see
He
him.
started one game.
a lot of our fan base hates him,
And
too,
it's like,
which I don't
for
understand
For
that.
what? What did he do?
It's not his fault you guys drafted him, you know?
That's crazy.
And the thing is about it, like, Rodgers has been a decent mentor for him, too, I think. Like, he's not being like Favre, where he's just
No.
pushing him to the side the whole time. He's really
Yeah.
trying to help him.
Or
And
like Tannehill, where like he publicly goes on and says, "I'm not gonna like mentor you."
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in my opinion, for like the tanking thing, I think it's fine if like you're in the middle of the season or towards the end when you realize your team's not good and like when the Eagles did, like, to lose, you don't really have much to play for. But I think going into the like a season, like trying to field a
Like,
losing
literally
team-
signing people, like what the Oakland
Yeah.
A's did this year, where it's like, you're here
that
because we
was-
want to lose.
Yeah, their payroll was like very like
Yeah, well-
much lower than every other team in the MLB. Which I get it, they're a small market team, but like they didn't even try this year. Like they traded everybody.
That's also for the A's because their owner is just a cheap
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like just fielding a team at the beginning of the year with aspiration, like wanting to lose, that shouldn't be allowed. Like there should be like a minimum like payroll. I feel like for like any sport.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of an endless cycle because,
Yeah,
like, you
it's
saw what
always
the
going
A's
to be.
attendance numbers were this year. They were horrendous. Like,
Yeah.
quite literally with
It doesn't
that,
help.
you're going to a decrepit stadium
I was
to
gonna say,
watch a terrible team
Their
that
stadium
the
was
owners
rated,
Yeah.
do not
rated
care about.
It
the
does
dead
look-
last in
yeah.
the MLB.
It's probably rated dead last in any
Yeah.
sport combined.
It does look
Yeah.
like
But-
they're trying to move to Vegas though, so maybe that.
I mean, like, what
help them
kind of
attract
message
some
does that
fans.
send to the fans? Because,
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
fans in
Oakland
Oakland,
has a
they got-
lot of old fans that, like, have been fans since the 70s and 80s. Like, what does that say to them? It's just kind of like a giant...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like
Proverbial-
There's like two good players on the A's, and one of them might be gone after this season.
Like, it's
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. Like, like the Pirates do this too every year. It feels
Yeah.
like they just completely sell off their whole roster just to rebuild. The Marlins do it a lot too.
Yeah.
Like seems like every
Brewers.
time they're turning a corner, they decide to tear it all down again.
I feel like that's what the Lakers do. They have all these good people and they have all this money and they just like sell these players.
Well, the thing is about the Lakers is, to be frank, the Lakers suck.
I was gonna say.
I think they're a team that if anybody in the NBA should tear down and restart, it's them.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. I think what the Lakers do is they just. It's not that they like intentionally want to tank. It's that they're just so bad at
They're
player
just bad.
development, like player development in general. That like they'll take a guy like Brandon Ingram and be like, oh, after 2 years of like not playing him how he's supposed to be played, he's not performing like a number 2 overall pick should. So let's trade him.
Well, that's the thing with their fan base too, is it's so toxic.
Yeah.
Like Kyle Kuzma, for example, decent player, I
could
would
be an
say.
all-star this year.
Yeah, I mean, like the second a lot of those guys leave LA, like Lonzo became a
D'Lo, Lonzo, Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram,
KCP even.
KCP. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many guys that quite literally, I feel like they're bad because, and they're not even bad, most of them. Like Kuzma was getting heat for averaging like 15 points a game. That's
Yeah.
still serviceable.
It's just because he made like some like question. He made a couple like bad big plays, and that's all that the fans will remember.
Yeah, I mean, because like Lakers fans are such
Oh, yeah,
like
they're-
that. Because if you're not winning it's kind of like Cowboy fans. If you're not winning a championship, it's a bust every year.
See, like-
Same with the Yankees.
The Lakers, they're like such a well-known team that they want them to be like, oh my gosh, our team is perfect. We need to have all these good players on it so we can be number one every year because we're such a good team. Like, this is LA. LA is like well-known. And that just gets kind of annoying. Like, yeah, you're LA, but like that doesn't mean you're always going to be good.
It's kind of like a short-term thing with them. Like they'll start to rebuild like what they did about 5 or 6 years ago by getting Lonzo and Ingram and all those guys and D'Lo, and then they just immediately give them up.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if they try to rebuild this year, the Pelicans have their pick swap.
Yeah, they could still get Victor Wembanyama right now.
Oh my God! If the Pelicans got Victor, that would be.
It's
so
very
that'd be
possible.
crazy.
That would nah Victor and Zion,
Victor, Zion, CJ,
Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas. Oh my God.
that might be a finals contender right there.
Oh, for sure.
All they need is a real true point guard.
All they need is to stay on the court.
If they still
Yeah.
had Drew Holiday right now, imagine.
Yeah.
All right, so David, what are your
Oh,
thoughts
yeah.
on tanking?
Well,
Back
I
to
was
the subject
I was
matter.
I was gonna say, I prove two examples that should show why tanking isn't. Well, not even that it's not effective, but it's just not fun. The Spurs and the Jazz this year, two teams that everyone thought were going to be tanking. The Spurs, the jury's still out on them, but I think they're like 6 and 7, and they've shown that they've been winning
the
games.
thing is, if Pop is your coach, you're never going to be completely terrible.
That's what I was gonna say. So like the Spurs and Jazz are two teams that I had them at the bottom of the Western Conference, and I thought that they would be firmly in the Wembanyama race. But if you take all the star talent out of a team in an attempt to tank, new players who maybe just had unrecognized potential or just weren't in the right situations come up and resume and take over that number one option, or are the players that's he's a surprise. It's like Julius Randle or Jeremy Grant or guys like that, or Bam Adebayo even a few years ago. Nobody thought he took a while to come into All-Star form. So if teams like that, if a Quinn Snyder or a Greg Popovich coach team would be tanking, then Lauri Markkanen wouldn't be as good as he is now. Jordan Clarkson, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, these guys who could be all-star players. Lauri Markkanen could be an all-star this year. Keldon Johnson could be an all-star this year, next year. Those types of guys, that would probably affect their development more than you would think, because the overall goal of the franchise is just long-term and not this year. But I think for one, the fan, it's not just for the NBA, it's just the example I thought of. The fans of those teams, it's not good for them, because you're pretty much banking on the fact that you're gonna
suck.
You're banking on the fact that in order to have a slightly above average chance than you would have to get a good draft pick if you wouldn't have tanked, that you would just have to be terrible for an entire season. And then who knows, you might not even get the draft pick you wanted, but then he might not even turn out to be what you have thought he would have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think in some cases it's obviously worked in a few instances, but it's just a lot more trouble than it's worth, and it's a pretty big smack into the face if you expect your fans to be loyal.
The thing about the Spurs is, I really think all they did to tank more or less was get rid of DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, which he didn't even really fit their timeline anyway.
Yeah,
he kind of did, but the thing is that a team like that, their ball movement this year, this could be hot. Their ball movement this year has been just as good as the KD Warriors ball movement. They average 7 or 8 passes per game, and it's just it's really cool to see that there isn't really one guy. You know what I mean? A lot of unselfish ball movement. They got 5 players averaging 10 points per game. Same thing with the Jazz. I think teams like that are really fun to watch, because they shouldn't be good on paper, if you look at the roster, but they're finding different ways to win games. And if they were tanking, that probably wouldn't be the case.
I would have to agree with you there. I'm gonna go for my opinion on this. I'm gonna go baseball a bit more and go to a laughing stock right now, the Detroit Tigers.
I could get in on this.
A failed rebuild.
Yeah, they really thought Javi Baez would be the answer.
Hey, he had a good second half. Don't sleep.
Yeah, he was hitting 230.
That's the Cubs fan in Austin over there, denying reality.
That it is, but no,
that's a very good example. Yeah.
Baseball, selling at the trade deadline, there's no problem with that. But
when you're the
Tigers,
them or the A's or a team I don't know, the Pirates, who are just an eternal rebuild.
Yeah.
Even the Reds were able to break out of it for a few years, but the Pirates, no, they're just basement dwellers.
I mean, they got a nice core. If they hold on to
they'll trade them.
You think
just wait.
You think they're gonna trade Cabrian and
Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds,
and O'Neal Cruz?
I heard Brian Reynolds was in trade rumors this year.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he's 24. He's 24, right?
Yeah.
Why would they trade him?
I don't think they're going to.
Oh my God.
Even teams good teams that make the playoffs are cheaps, the Rays and the Brewers. You see the Brewers. They might trade Corbin Burns because they really don't want to pay him, and then they, so they can get more in return. It's just a shame because these two teams, they could be World Series contenders if they just spent that extra money to for the Brewers get a bat or something. If the
Brewers traded Corbin Burns, they would be so cooked, because if their pitching wasn't as good as it was these past few years,
we'll still have Brandon Woodruff at least, but Burns is our ace. We have to extend Burns if we want any shot of contending.
Oh, for sure.
We have to extend both of them, and then
Freddie Peralta too, probably.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Just sign someone else.
Get rid of Yelich.
no,
That's not
definitely. I am
happening.
100% with you on
I
that.
don't think that can happen. I
It
don't think
can't.
anyone-
No, nobody
No
wants
one
him.
wants that contract. Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah, you guys are gonna be paying him until like 2044.
Yeah, he needs to step it up again.
My mom would be pissed if you guys let him go. She is the type of person
Well,
for any sport that she says our team is so good, and then they trade our good players. My mom gets pissed.
Yelich isn't good though.
Yeah, no, Yelich
Yelich
is not
are-
good anymore.
Yeah. No one's gonna take that.
He's getting outproduced. He got outproduced in the outfield by Tyrod Taylor, like
Yeah.
or
Just-
Tyrone Taylor. Sorry.
Brewers are stuck with him.
He was a
but-
Gold Glove nominee for some reason, though.
Yeah, that's like Dallas Keuchel getting a Gold Glove last year. It's like it's just like a pity award.
Yeah.
Since we're on the MLB rewards real quick, can we talk about Rob Thompson not being eligible for Manager of the Year, not making the cut? That's kind
Wait,
of
really?
bogus. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
I know it was
Nolan.
Snicker. It was Snicker was one of them.
Roberts and
Dave Roberts
And
is not
Tony-
it for me.
no, it's the Mets. It's the Mets manager.
Wait, where's Tony La Russa?
yeah, because it was
At the
so
bottom of the
difficult.
list.
Because it was so difficult to win with those teams they were given.
Yeah, like anyone managing, like I feel like Buck Showalter, that's the
Yeah.
guy. But
Craig
Yeah.
Craig Counsell got robbed.
he definitely should have been nominated because like what he did with that team to like turn them around was very impressive.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple
I mean,
years
Joe
ag-
Girardi put him in the dumps.
I mean, a couple years ago, you joked about Council, but a couple years ago, I think he did get robbed. Like,
Oh no, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
He overmanages, though. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah, he does.
That's the thing. Joe Madden did that in the playoffs a few times, but we won the World Series.
Yeah.
All right.
That covers up everything.
Yeah, then we're good.
All right, keep living in 2016 now.
I do.
Fly
Don't
the
worry.
L. Fly the L.
Yeah,
okay.
that's like and Tyronn Lue won a World Series with the or won a NBA Finals. with the
Man, that's
Cavs.
crazy. LeBron, the World Series MVP. All right, so moving on into NBA, actually, we're going to talk coaches that are on the hot seat potentially. I want to hear Brian's opinion first again on this one. Doc Rivers.
Yeah,
That'll be our first one.
Yeah, he's just so bad. I do not like Doc Rivers, or he's not Doc Rivers. We call him Glenn Rivers. He has to earn Doc back. So, but yeah, it's just come on, man. Like we go back to when we were the 1 seed when we lost to Atlanta. That's just bad. We blew 2 or 3 games that we were winning by 20 at one point. You just gotta manage the bench better. I mean, I will give him this. The Sixers haven't had that good depth in the past years, but like. This year it's kind of ridiculous. Like, Embiid just had that game. It was
One of the best games from a center I've ever seen.
insane game. And
Gave me
Doc-
100 fantasy points.
No, that was crazy.
And Doc's trying to draw up plays for Maxey, and Maxey's just like, yeah, I'm gonna just give it to Joel. So, I think he's bad. I think he's overrated. I think he needs to get fired, and I think his replacement is actually already in Philly with Sam Cassell on the
Cassell?
bench. Yeah, his assistant.
Oh, yeah, facts.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely think he's on the hot seat. I feel like at this point, it's just because he's named Doc Rivers is why he has a job. Just because of his name. I feel like if
Well,
he was
that in his Celtics days.
yeah, I feel like if he was if it was another coach within the position that the Sixers were in right now, I feel like he would be gone by now. I think he's there because he's Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
That's why he's still there.
See, I think Doc Rivers is like a well-known coach. He is a little bit overrated, I'll say that. Just because he is well-known, people are like, oh my god, Doc Rivers, he's so good.
Nobody really says that anymore, I don't think.
But now he's just overrated. I don't think he's that good anymore. Yeah, I just think he's not as good as he was.
I think I agree with what Austin said. I think he's just been riding off of he's literally just name value for the past 10 years. Some of the situations he's been in, I'll give him a pass with I'll give him a pass for maybe a few years. I mean the playoffs against the Hawks last year, I guess 2 years ago, that one wasn't. I mean, he didn't handle that well. He didn't handle that well with what he said about Ben Simmons, but it wasn't really his fault. I don't think he could have predicted that Ben could have kind of collapsed the way he did.
I mean, he wasn't wrong. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm just kidding. But
But No, like the bubble was just inexcusable.
Yeah, that was.
And yeah, just last year he just got outcoached by Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah, we definitely should have beaten the Heat.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like he just got outcoached. Like the fact that like Matisse Thybulle had like literally when he played had one of the highest like defensive ratings in like playoffs history, and he only played like I think like Georges Niang got more minutes than him.
Yeah. But you see,
something like that.
Matisse's problem is that he couldn't score. He can't score.
He has no offensive
he's-
talent.
Just
He's
a
supposed to be
liability
our
on offense.
3-and-D guy, but he can't shoot. So it's like he's a big issue right now. And I thought he was supposed to improve his shooting this offseason, but he hasn't gotten the time. So I guess I don't know. I'd like to see him a little more. I'm a big Matisse fan, but yeah, I agree with that.
I
just
remember
think
his
that-
vlogs back in the day.
I watched that. His and JaVale McGee's.
Yeah.
Stacy.
I just think that like, example of like that, and like even this year you see like Montrezl Harrell's barely getting any minutes, which is confusing to me. Like, why did you sign him if you're only going to play him 10 minutes per game? There's just been countless examples where he's gone to situations and he just hasn't, for one reason or another, it hasn't worked out. But I think Doc personally is like I said earlier, the most overrated quote unquote like elite coach, because some people like old heads will still put him in the elite tier, but I don't think he's anywhere near that in my opinion.
I think he was honestly kind of overrated even in his Clipper days. I mean, like, with the roster that they had, he did nothing with them.
Yeah.
Never even made it past the second round.
Yeah.
I mean, most years
don't
not even past the first round, I don't think.
I even think I wouldn't put him in the top like 20 head coaches this year.
Have you guys seen that meme where it's like this dude took a selfie with him in the background during
Oh
the
yeah, I
timeout?
can confirm.
Yeah.
Doc is this dude like he had a Heat jersey on. He took a selfie with like the whole Heat like fit Sixers roster on the bench. He's like, I could confirm Doc was cooking up absolutely nothing in this timeout. That was so funny. That was hilarious.
Yeah, cooking it up. It's like when Coach Bud said to play random.
It's like when Bud was like, all right, Brooke, I know that Katie has scored on you in drop coverage 8 times, but I really feel like this is the one where we're going to get the stop.
All right, moving on to so we're going to have to skip over a few just because of time constraints again, but Darvin Ham, the Lakers head coach. I'll start with David on this one.
I actually don't think he's on the hot seat for a couple of reasons. One, the main thing he said, well, besides for three-point shooting last year, the Lakers' biggest problem was that they did not have any defense. Statistically, their best on-ball defender last year was Malik Monk.
Wow.
I know, yeah. But Darvin Ham immediately, first day, in his opening press conference, he said that he was going to work to improve the defense, and they went from the 24th best defensive win shares ranked team last year to the I think it's I forgot, it's in the teens now. I forget what I saw, but it's in the mid-teens. Their defense has improved, and a couple of the pieces they've gotten this year, like Lonnie Walker has been an upgrade on defense, and Austin Reeves has gotten better. So he's delivered on that. But also, I think that he's actually a lot more fluid with his rotations. You've seen obviously benching Russ is the biggest one, but we've seen his lineups change pretty frequently, and they actually Russ has actually been playing really well in a bench role.
He's been good off the bench, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think. The Lakers obviously still have a lot of problems, but I don't think really any of them are Darvin Ham's fault. So I would say he's not on the hot seat.
Yeah, I really just threw him in there because
It's because of how bad the Lakers are.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, I agree. The Lakers are 3-10 right now. They are awful. But okay, what I want to see happen is them bring Brad Stevens back. He was the Celtics' old coach. I miss him a lot. If they should bring him to the Lakers or something, because I want to see what he could do to the Lakers. That would be really cool.
Well, Brad Stevens is he elevated his position with the
Yeah,
Celtics.
he
He's
went to
I believe
management.
he's the president of basketball operations.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's really sad, though. I miss him. I really liked him as a coach.
I thought Udoka was a great coach as well. He really fixed their defensive issues, but things happen.
Yeah.
He improved the on-court chemistry, but the off-court chemistry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, chemistry with other people, maybe the non-players, but
Players. Yeah, I think it's too early to like put Darvin Ham on the hot streak. The Lakers team just is not very good, as we've all said. Like they have a lot more problems than just a coaching to like put it on a coaching issue. Like there's some teams when they're bad, you can put it on a coaching issue, but this team I just don't think is ready to compete and won't compete this year really. And I don't think you can put the blame on a first-year head coach who doesn't have a whole lot to work with.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you guys said, obviously, but also like we've said, they've struggled with developing talent. You know, that starts with the coaching staff. You know, and you know the Lakers have had quite a few coaches the past couple years, and I think really to like build up that team and develop players is keeping a coach and having a system so the players can develop into the system and become better.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously a lot of things out of his control, injuries, just the team not being good. It's unfortunate for him, but I think they should keep on and hang on to him.
I agree. I mean, like, there's not a lot of talent on that roster outside of LeBron, AD, and Russ, and even so, none of them are shooters.
The supporting cast is terrible.
That roster is so flawed in so many ways.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get through one more, just really quick, just like a quick.
I wonder who.
We're going to go with Billy Donovan on this one. So we're going to go a little quicker through this one, though, just so we have time for final thoughts. But I'll let David take it away as a Bulls fan.
Honestly, I'm torn. I don't think he is just yet. I mean, it's obviously still pretty early into the season. I think his rotations have always been good. This year they've been a little frayed. I was saying before the show that in a make or break game against the Pelicans where we ended up losing by 2. He benched Patrick Williams for pretty much the entire fourth quarter when he was pretty much locking down Brandon Ingram and put Javonte Green on him, who's like 4 inches shorter. Didn't really understand that, but I think it's kind of a combination. I mean, yeah, you could say like sometimes he'll call a questionable timeout or like a couple of his defensive schemes are pretty bad. But I mean, if you look at our healthy defenders right now, he doesn't have many guys to put in like high leverage situations. So I mean, I'm not saying like he's off the hook, but I don't really necessarily think that's his fault. I think the jury's still out on him. He obviously I know he's a good coach. I liked him at OKC and he did a lot of good things for us last year. So I still have faith in Billy Donovan, but it's definitely not the start to the season I envisioned, and he deserves some blame for that.
Okay, I would say probably not. Like, I thought this team would be at least higher up by this point, even though it's still early in the season. I really would have thought they would have been up farther at this point.
Very true.
Yeah, I think it's definitely still too early to say he's on the hot seat. Give it a couple months, see what the Bulls are looking like. But like he was in Coach of the Year running last year until Lonzo got hurt.
Yeah.
Like they were one of the best teams in the East.
At the All-Star break, he was 4th in Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I really just threw him in there because my friend brought up some points yesterday, and I was like, those aren't bad to be honest, but like
yeah, I would.
I just wanted to know if you felt the same way about him, to be honest.
Teams lose a couple games, people start to try to find out what the problem is, and the coach is an obvious place to look. So I get it.
Coach is always like one of the first ones if they like the players. But yeah, I'd say it's still too early to pull the trigger on putting him on the hot seat.
Yeah, I also think it's too early. You guys have also been dealing with some injuries. Lonzo's been out. I think LaVine and both DeRozan have missed a couple of games, or just LaVine?
LaVine's been sitting out back-to-backs because of injury management, but Drummond missed 5 games. Kobe White's only played like 4, so guys have been in and out of the lineup. Yeah.
But DeRozan has DeRozan.
I think DeRozan's played every game.
No, DeRozan's played every game. He's been like one of the only guys that has.
He's usually pretty consistent with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's too early. The injuries, obviously, and it's still really early in the NBA season. We really can't think too much of it so far, I think. So yeah, I think he's fine for now.
I'll have to agree with you guys on this one. I just wanted to see if the pulse was any different with that one, to be honest, than just Like, I just wanted to see, like, how are Bulls fans feeling about their start
I honestly
this year?
just think we've gotten really unlucky. So we're 6-8, but 6 of our 8 losses have come within a possession or less, or within 2 possessions or less. We've only lost 1 game by double digits. We just haven't been very good in the clutch.
I mean, and I think once you get Lonzo back, some of those issues will resolve
yeah.
themselves too.
Oh yeah, no, he was one of the best. He's probably after DeMar, he was our clutchest player.
I mean, I feel like he's clutch on more so almost on the defensive end too. Like,
for sure.
Your defensive rating took a massive hit when he left.
The only point guard I'm willing to say, I think Lonzo Ball is the second best defensive point guard in the NBA. The only guy I'm willing to say is better than him is Drew. But like I would take Lonzo over Marcus Smart, just because he's a lot stronger.
Hot take right there.
Just because he's a lot better of an interior defender. You know what I mean? He's not just good on the perimeter.
Hawk Talk, where hot takes happen.
For sure.
So moving into final thoughts, mine will be about the Warhawk team again. Game on Saturday. They play Aurora in the first round of the playoffs. Come out and support. Pack the perk if you can.
My final thoughts, coming from a Michigan basketball fan, I can say that Amani Bates is indeed him. Dropped 30 points
crazy.
on 9 of 14 shooting, and just had some insane, he had 3 threes that were like 2 feet behind the 3-point line.
I didn't know you guys scooped up Amani Bates.
No, we
he
played against him. We
played him.
played.
Oh, okay.
He transferred to Eastern Michigan. So yeah, it was. We only beat them by like 5 points, but him and Noah Farrakhan dropped like 55 points
Oh,
combined.
Noah Farrakhan's on that team now too?
Yep. That's the problem is that like they don't have anyone else on the team outside of those 2 players, but Amani Bates had like one of the best performances I've ever seen. Also, I just want to say shout out to Hunter Dickinson for dropping like 31 and 15. Media's not going to talk about that because, obviously Amani Bates, but I do have to say Amani Bates is still him, and if he can lead Eastern Michigan to like a MAC championship and maybe even a tournament bid, I think he can work his way back into the lottery. So
I mean, he's also really young still. He's only
Yeah.
18.
Yeah, 'cause he
he was born in
reclassified.
2004.
yeah.
Like,
Because
this is technically his freshman year of college.
he skipped his senior year of high school to play at Memphis, and
That didn't end up working
no,
out.
not at all. So so glad to see we're 2-0 still. Michigan football got a nice win over Nebraska.
Well, of course.
Yeah, and I'm excited. We play Illinois this week, who's actually a pretty solid team, even though we've had a couple bad losses. I'm excited to see Chase Brown, because he's obviously, one of the best backs in the Big Ten. And yeah, college football playoff race is heating up, so I'm really excited to see how that plays out.
Did you and Austin both, did you hear about the Braylon Allen rumors?
Yes, sir.
What's the Braylon?
Oh, he might transfer to Michigan.
Oh,
Nah,
there's no way.
He better not.
he won't.
I just want to say he recently.
As long as we
Donovan
hire
Edwards.
Leonard back.
We got Donovan Edwards.
Yeah,
We don't need him.
but he just started.
Shut up.
He started following Jim Harbaugh and 3 Michigan people in the Michigan coaching staff last
Interesting.
week.
That'd be hilarious.
That would be
make
so
much fun of
funny.
My friends. for
I
that.
would be like, I'd still want Donovan Edwards to be the lead back too.
Yeah. Same.
All right, Alyssa.
Okay, my final thoughts. Happy TNT Tuesday. You have Grizzlies and Pelicans at 6:30, Nets and Kings at 9, and the Packers play on Thursday for Thursday Night Football, so go ahead and watch that.
Mine are, I don't know if I'll be able to say, there's no Tuesday show next week, and we don't know how often we get to Thursday final thoughts, so I'm going to preemphasize the game, Michigan versus Ohio State. Very excited for
Yes,
it.
sir.
I got Michigan, hot take.
Let's go.
That's all
My
I'm
man.
thinking about right now, really. So take care of business this week, and then it's hate week for Ohio
Yeah.
State.
Can't overlook Illinois though.
No.
We
But
got
facts.
hate week for Minnesota coming up too for the Badger fans.
Facts.
For me, today is one of the best days in college football. We got some action tonight.
Ooh,
We got Bowling Green in Toledo, Ohio and Ball State.
Prime time matchups.
Oh yeah, the best. I can't wait. I got Bowling Green plus 17.5 and Ohio minus 3.5.
for all you sports bettors out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So those are
that's
locks. Put them in. Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, so that'll do it for us on our Tuesday edition of Hawk Talk this week. We will not be on next week or potentially the week after that. I'm not 100% sure yet, but this has been Tuesday Hawk Talk on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater, along with streaming live on UWW TV, either through YouTube or through the site. Thanks for listening, and have a good rest of your night.